Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this tutorial we're going to continue with the third practical inside of our introduction to statistical analysis in Python series. So in this tutorial we're going to go over and cover a few things. So we're going to be going over and covering what's histograms and how to use histogram to perform statistical analysis in Python, and how to plot different histograms. Okay, so we have this question right here. As usual, we're going to set a question and then we're going to study the things that we needed to solve. We need to solve that question, and then we'll finally implement the solution, and then finally have an assignment to do. So let's start with the question, and the question is: create a histogram to understand the age distribution from the age column, or the variable called the age variable, or the age feature inside of the credit data set. So what's a histogram, and how can you plot histograms in Python? So let's look at what a histogram is first. So this is a type of visualization, visualizes the distribution of data over a continuous interval or a certain period. That's basically what a histogram is. So they are mainly used for comparison of data over time, the distribution of data, patterns and ranges inside of the data. So the best practice we need to avoid whenever you're creating a histograms is don't make the bars too wide and don't make them too little either. So just sometimes it's better that you leave it to Python to let Python figure it out for you, but you can also control the width of the bars, but be careful not to make the bars too large or too narrow. And also the number of bars that you have, it can be a bit challenging, because if you specify the wrong number of bars, right, to give you the wrong interpretation of the data. Okay, so that's a whole it's a very whole topic on it, on how many bars to use, or let Python figure the bars for you. It can be sometimes tricky to understand, and you need in-depth knowledge of your data in order to you to decide how many bars you want to go with. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and look at the solution to solve this problem. So the problem is, let me just go back to the question: create a histogram to understand the age distribution from the age variable inside of our credit score of our credit data set that we have. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually implement that solution to. Okay, so here I am in my Jupyter inside of my Google Colab notebook. So inside of here, what I'm simply going to go ahead and do is to answer that question, which is just create a histogram of the ages to compare the different ages. So the first we're going to do is to create a figure, and inside of that figure we're going to go ahead and draw our histogram. So I'm going to say plt.figure figure. I'm going to specify the fig size, so I'm going to say fig size, and this is going to be equals to a tuple, and you're going to leave it by, let's say 10 by 6. Okay, so okay, once you have that there, I'm going to go ahead and say plt.histogram, just like this, hist, and you pass in the data. We want to plot of the age column, so we're going to access the age column, and I've already mentioned it a couple of times how to access a different given column. Okay, so in the number of bins here, we can specify the number of bins as we want. So I'm going to say the number of bins is going to be 10, and then I'm going to say the hist type, and then I'm going to say hist type, and I'm going to say hist type is going to be just a string, and then of bar, just like this. And once I have that, I can specify the number of the width of those bars. So I'm going to say the width of those bars will be 0.r width, I think, is for the bars, and then r.9. So once I have 1.9, just undo that, and then once I have that there, I'm simply going to go ahead and give it a title. So I'm going to say plt.title, just like this, and the title you can just say histogram of ages. So just say histogram of ages. So histogram of ages, just histogram of ages. And then once I have that, I'm going to do plt.x label, and x label is going to be the following. So when you say the x label is going to be the age, or let's say ages to be more specific. Okay, it's just a preference, right? Ages, yeah, anything works. So plt.y label. So the y label, for the y label, I'm going to say the frequency of the how many times that age occurs. Okay, and once we have that, I'm going to see do a simple do plt.show to actually show that graph. So it's not a must that if you don't do, it's not a must to do plt.show. Even if you run it without plt.show, you will still get the graph, but you get this right here. I don't want those text, so I just want to do plt.show. So plt.show right there. So once I do plt.show, now you should just find a graph and no text up here, right? So now you can see the graph like this. This is how the graph is. So you can see that the ages around 25 are the most ages that we have who are taking credit loans, and as we go older, the people go older, they take less credit notes. So like, it makes sense, right? So when people grow older, they have less needs, right? Because yeah, so that age decreases in this direction. And you can see that most people who are taking credits are actually older people, because younger people, we don't usually take credit. So we can see that the data is positively skewed, since the tail of the graph will be mostly pulled to the right side. Okay, so if you wonder what I mean by skewness, don't worry, we'll cover all of that in later videos. Okay, so that's basically it. So one thing I want to talk about is this right here. So you can see that I specified the number of bins to be 10 because I want the gaps between the edges to be 10, right? Because that is 80, so I want them to be 10 10 10. But sometimes it's better that you leave this for Pandas to figure Python to figure out for you, because it can be a bit tricky. Yeah, but we can do that ourselves. And also the arrow way, you can also leave it for Python to figure it out for you. Okay, and these values right here, the fixed size, this I can just change these values to 8. And now if I run this, now you can see our graph is smaller in terms of the width of the graph. So the first value right here, it talks about the width, and then the other one talks about the height. So if I keep back 10 and run it, you can see it's gonna be a bit wider. So this value right here controls the width of the graph, and then this one controls its height. Okay, so that's what the fig size stands for. Yeah, so that's basically it, how you can simply draw a histogram plot in Pandas and perform statistical analysis on it and come up with different discoveries within our data. So from this we can see that the edges with around 20s are leading in terms of taking credits and stuff like that. So let's go and see which assignment I have for you, because there is no point of you learning something if you never implement it and challenge yourself to do better. So let me just look and go ahead and see which assignment I have for you guys. So in terms of the solution to this, you have already looked at the solution to this question, and you have learned what a histogram is, and you have learned how to implement a histogram in Python. So for your little assignment, I want you to go ahead and create a histogram to visualize the duration, the duration column, and just state 3 observations that you get from that histogram. So the duration column is just for like how long the duration the credit duration is. So I want you to go and perform histogram analysis, and then give me any 3 observations that you observe inside of that graph. And again, the solution to this can be found on inside of the notebook that you're using, and the link to that notebook is going to be in the description of the video below. So guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this so far, please kindly consider liking the video, sharing this content with anyone who think might find it helpful, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that you stay updated whenever I upload future videos on this. Thanks for watching, and see you in next one. Keep safe.